appropriate to talk about Bill Gates. But for today, welcome to the Medicare Cafe. Brian's yelling at me for taking allergy medicines. I know I need to. I just don't because they're in another room. So we're going to have the Miss Fabulous, myself, the nasally Olivia Richardson as your host.
And I'm Mike, and I'll tell you, Olivia, you get to the point where you have your coffee in the morning, and 30 minutes later you got to take an allergy pill just for the rest of your life because you become allergic to everything. So that's my life. I just carry medicine with me at all times. So
yes, that's just like I live in an area where my environment's trying to constantly kill me, and it's like I didn't move to Australia where it makes sense, where nature is trying to kill me. I live in the Midwest, and clearly this is not my ideal environment. So,
no, 100%. But today we're going to talk about, speaking of protecting your allergies, horrible transition, protecting your clients, because we see this, and we've seen this all throughout the Medicare Cafe over the past handful of years of agents coming to us and saying, hey, someone's trying to trick my clients to think that they work with me, and they really don't. And it's an ongoing problem. We're talking about now because AEP's over, OEP's over. Desperate agents do desperate things, and those agents are typically the ones that don't care about the rules and regulations. So it really is today about client advocacy, and besides protecting them from high medical costs, protecting them from predatory agents.
Oh, for sure. What we saw from 2020 moving forward into this year was that our industry had a huge boom in awareness and in brand new agents. A lot of people lost their jobs, and becoming an insurance agent is the cheapest way of owning your own business. So we saw a huge boom in that. So not only that, I mentioned awareness, you're seeing a huge growth in call centers, a huge growth in that proactive marketing. Now, I'd love to think that most of our competition is noble. Most of our competition is not a bunch of weasels. That being said, like Mike mentioned, we hear it all the time that, oh, hey, you work with Brian? Oh, I also work with Brian. I'm just from a different agency, but Brian and I work together all the time. Well, no, that's a lie. So how do you combat bad people trying to steal your clients?
Yeah, Medicare has always been preaching about phone calls, because that's obviously one of the most common ways that people get scammed, because you can do it from anywhere in the country. You never have to worry about running into them at Walmart or the grocery store. But Medicare.gov says this: don't share your Medicare number or personal information of anyone by phone or email or approaching in person unless they've given them permission in advance. And Medicare has released little pamphlets and stuff that no one ever downloads to enforce this thing, saying, hey, don't talk to strangers. Stranger danger, stranger danger. Don't talk to people. Never give out your Medicare ID to somebody you don't know, because you don't know what they're going to use it for. And yet people enroll over the phone all the time. So it's a double-edged sword, because if you're a reputable agent doing over the phone sales, you don't want this to happen because you're reputable. On the other hand, if you have clients in your own backyard and you're like, hey, I need to protect them, you don't want them giving out their information to anybody. So it's, this is something you have to educate your clients on. If you get a phone call that's unprompted, don't answer it. If they leave you a message saying, hey, I'm here with Medicare or something, don't ever give your information to an inbound call.
Now, I do think it is, again, a huge reason why once you do get a client, it is super helpful to actually put your number in their phone so that whenever you do call, it shows up as you and your agency. One thing that you got to keep in mind, what's really scary right now, is that we saw, again, a result of 2020. Scamming of the senior demographic is going rampant because people are home. People are at risk. There's a lot of uncertainty out there, even still to this day. Bad information about the vaccines, bad information about COVID itself. That scam artists are going in a frenzy going after your clients. So it's also good reminders for your clients to say not only, but that scamming it right now for the senior demographic is at an all-time high.
Yeah. So I know it again. If you're selling over the phone, this is the challenge you have to overcome. But this is something that you need to educate your clients on. Don't ever talk to strangers. Stranger danger. You know, we hear it all the time with our kids. You got to repeat that with our seniors. The next one, of course, is at their home, which again, stranger danger. But if someone comes up to their door out of the blue and they don't know them and no appointment set, tell them, don't let them in. You could shut the door or don't answer it or just tell them to go away. And they should just leave in theory. But this is a big one. We saw a lot of this with the stimulus checks. Hey, for $10 or $20 a week to expedite your stimulus check, they give their information over the phone, and now they have to deal with identity fraud because they thought they're getting a quick stimulus check, but now they just bought a house on the West Coast. Who knew?
Yeah, for sure. It's all about educating your clients. The biggest one that we see is again saying that, oh, my agent is Pam or my agent is, Teresa. That's who I work with. And then they'll say, well, that's okay. I actually work with them too. I think during every AEP, that's the number one complaint I get is that, well, they said that they worked with my agency and they don't. The best way that I've seen to combat that is to make sure that you have a website or a newsletter that is updated with your office staff, because that can be difficult, especially if you're a larger agency that has either several downline agents or an agency that has administrative staff. You just want to go ahead and make sure that you are constantly putting information out there about who is actually with your office and who isn't, so that people always have a way to reference and say, oh, well, they say that their name is Bobby, but I don't see a Bobby on this website. They must not actually be with my agent.
Yes, exactly. And we've seen, again, like Liv said, we see it all the time. And it's your responsibility to make sure your clients are aware of who they're working with, especially if you have many people on your staff. If you're a one-person operation, a lot easier. Hey, I will always be the one contacting you, or me or this person. But if you have, I think it's easier if you have a physical location. Say, hey, we can just meet here. Here's all our staff, yada, yada, yada. But again, it's your responsibility to make sure that they know that. The other side of this, of course, is mailers. It doesn't have to be someone showing up. If it doesn't have any of these logos, it's probably not an official piece. And you responding to that, especially to a phone call, could be very beneficial, or it could be very disastrous. So I've always told my clients, if you get a call, if someone stops by your house, if you get a mailer, make sure you get the information. It's easy, obviously, with a mailer because you have it, but get that person's card, get that person's information, and then contact me, and I'll let you know for sure if that was something that had your best interest in mind or only had your checkbook in mind. So let me know before we're actually trying to chase down the money that you gave somebody.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I think you bring up a great point that it's all about training your clients. Every single time you meet with your clients or communicate with them in general, you're training them on how to behave in regards to their Medicare insurance. So training them that, I love the idea, and we did this for like a Turning 65 campaign. What it was that you give people a bag with your agency name, your logo on there, and say anything that you get with the word Medicare on there, put it in this bag, we'll go through it together. But I think that continues to be true in between appointments, saying if it's not urgent, put it in this bag. Our next appointment, let's go through your mail and see what you need to talk about. See what's real and what's just advertisement. See what's the scam potential. So what you're doing is you're training them to actually ignore all those advertisements and ignore the noise. Train them that you have to if you have a question, you come to me, your agent. You don't go and you don't call an 800 number back. You don't send a piece of mail in. If you have a question, you turn to me, you turn to my staff. That's one of the values or one of the opportunities you have of being my client.
100%. And that's where, 100%, said it. And that's where, like Livia said, everyone who's part of your agency should have some sort of contact, whether it be through newsletter, social media, special announcements. You need to have these things. If you get a virtual assistant that's doing some work for you, maybe he's doing some appointment setting or some calling or whatever it is, you should announce that, hey, I am, Barbara is now part of our agency. If you get a call from her, just know she's working with us. So when Sally calls, it's like, wait, you're not Barbara, you trickster, hang up. Make sure that your clients know, because it's your responsibility to make sure your clients are aware of who they're dealing with. and not just you as a one-time transaction. Because if you have a whole staff that's maybe doing updating files, getting ready for AAP, if they're doing appointment setting, if whatever they're doing, you need to know. If you get sub-agents down the road, they should be listed on your site. So when I go to your site and I see that Bob's on there, it's like, okay, I know Bob wasn't lying about working with you. Because here's the kicker on this. If someone comes to their house or gives them a call and says, yes, I work with Olivia all the time, and I don't, very rarely they're going to be like, prove it. Prove you work with them. They're just going to assume that you're telling the truth, because why would you lie about that?
Yeah.
So it's vital that you have this information readily available for your clients and make it to where they're looking at it all the time. Like at the bottom of your newsletter, have staff photos. If there's 5 of you, you can easily have 5 quick staff photos. Here's our staff. If we can help in any way, let us know. And then when they see a strange person, it's like, wait a second, I don't recognize you. And that needs to be a message. If you don't recognize the person you're dealing with, stop and call us.
Oh, so yeah, very good point. And I love how you mentioned social media. Social media is a great way to make sure that you are keeping what's important in front of your clients and potential prospects. But again, it's all about educating your clients on what to do. Now, what you don't want to have happen, if you are an individual agent, that's fine. Right now, I'm talking to my agencies out there. Something that we do see that when this gets taken too far of the only talk to me, then of course your clients are not going to feel comfortable talking to your staff, which is truly and limits what your staff can do for them. Your staff can do the value add stuff like helping them with gym memberships, helping them schedule appointments, can do a lot of that stuff that frees up your time. So that's why if you are an agency, the message is less only talk to me, only talk to me, only talk to me, and like only talk to this group. It's a subtle difference. It's a little bit of a change, but the biggest issue that agents who are transitioning from independent individual agent to building an agency, building that legacy, is that transition from you only talk to me versus you talk to my agency. So making sure that you're very clear on what the expectations are.
Yes, and the other side of this, though, that I didn't, just thinking about what you were saying there, is if someone does leave your agency and they're a licensed agent, are they going to steal your business? So that's the other thing, is protecting the other side of your business, is because most agencies don't have a non-compete clause. A lot of big corporations have those, but a non-compete is not typically for a smaller agency. So if someone does leave, are you protecting your book of business from staying with you or being swept up by that person that just left and trying to build their own agency underneath you? So keep in mind about that as well.
Very, very, very true.
Because as we've been talking about, it's your responsibility to keep your clients up to date. And if you don't and they leave you, it's not their fault. Because everywhere you turn, there's advertisements. Social media, they download an app on their phone, there's advertisements. There's advertisements on Netflix. Yes, it's for their own shows, but there's still ads. You walk down the street, there are ads all over the place. Billboards, flyers, yada, yada, yada. So you can't get away from advertisements. And we all know if you start searching for something online, this is why social media is so important. So if I start researching Medicare online, what's going to happen? My social media, my email, all the ads I'm seeing are going to point towards what I just last searched. So if I'm aging into Medicare, I'm going to see all these ads for insurance agencies, carriers, Medicare information flood my online shopping and resources and such. So you want to make sure that you're part of that mix.
I think it's exactly what you mentioned earlier, Mike. If a client leaves you, it's really easy to get mad at the agent that took them, or mad at the 800 number, or mad at Joe Namath. But if an agent leaves you, or if a client leaves you, it's for a reason. And so you need to be able to look inward and say, what could I have done to change that? Was I available enough? Did I make sure they knew about my services? Did I train them to call me before they made any other decision? So it's just that look inward as well.
Exactly. Now, if you want additional information about all this and more, of course, you can join us for the National Senior Sales Summit. That's next week.
Yes, it is a week from tomorrow. Really excited about it. The National Senior Sales Summit 2-day event. Make sure if you're going to get your ticket that you get the plus ticket. Don't get the normal one. It's $49 to get the plus one. And that way you get access to interactive. Different from last year. Last year, everything was basically non-interactive. It was a one-way communication. If you get the plus tickets, you actually get 4 additional breakout sessions where you can actively ask questions to the presenters, which will actually be 2 days of presenters. Myself and Mike are doing are the day 2 presenters. We'll be talking about objections and overcoming objections. Mike's focusing on overcoming appointment setting objections. I'm talking about overcoming sales objections. And then day 1 is going to have access to more agency training, how to manage a book of business and downlines at the same time, and how to motivate and maintain downline agents. So great stuff for that plus ticket.
Yeah, and that's very rarely do you go to events and get earth-shattering information. Most of the time you get little nuggets, and that's always been my goal of any training I go to is having the right expectations. I expect everyone that comes to the summit will leave with at least 3 easily adaptable nuggets that they could apply to their agency, whether it be starting a newsletter, which sounds daunting but really isn't, whether it be maybe some simple phrases or terminology they could add to their either overcoming objections or selling process that they could mold and make their own and help increase their appointments and or their sales. So those are the type of things you're looking for. You're not, I mean, you may get some earth-shattering information like, oh, I never thought of that. I need to start doing that. Hopefully it happens, but usually it doesn't. I mean, that's kind of like we're going to the National Senior, not going to that. We're going to the MedSub conference in September. I expect to get some little nuggets out there. I also expect to get some good contacts. And that's one of the big things is having someone in your industry that you can talk to. And if they're, if they're across the country or other side of the state, I think it's a little easier because you could tell them what you're doing in your backyard and they're not going to be competition per se, especially in person. So having that, because talking to your wife or your husband or your significant other or friends that are in sales, it helps, but it really does make a difference when you're talking to someone that knows exactly what you're going through. And, dealing with senior citizens that pull out 80 different medications and 60 are the same. And, they're just these crazy stories you come across that does help. So definitely pick up some, some people that you could just have some good conversation with.
Yep. Jay asked how much is the plus ticket. Again, the plus ticket is $49. And then Carl was asking if these are recorded. Yes, those sessions are recorded to those who purchase tickets and should be available for up to 3 months.
Yeah, and Carl said, the best newsletter is the best thing he ever did. I can tell you what, I know newsletters we get a ton of them. I get a ton of them. Every time you buy something from an online reseller, you get on their newsletter and no one ever asks. They just assume you want it. And I'm guilty of opening some of them, especially for the fun stuff. But everyone's doing it. And if you're not doing it, you'll be easily forgotten. It's just like social media. You may not get sales off of it, but it's definitely going to keep your name in front of them. And that's the point of a newsletter. And hopefully your newsletter is good enough to where you're getting relevant information across your clients and prospects, where they're actually opening it and excited and, referring their friends to it. That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is they haven't forgot about you. So there is no downside of a newsletter other than a little bit of time it takes. So instead of watching another episode of Criminal Minds, like I've been marathoning, you could pop out a newsletter.
Well, don't forget, Senior Marketing Specialist does build new quarterly newsletters for you as well. Love the personalization. Carl mentioned he sends out a video every week of him and his dogs, and that's super, super helpful. And he gives helpful ideas each video that takes them to his website. So absolutely great content, great stuff. A lot of that, again, more to come, and a lot of the information will be talked about at the Sales Summit as well.
So I'm gonna give a little peek in the, well, not peek in the box, a little tip that I saw one of the agents we know, Champ, did. He had one of his sons, he was talking about making Medicare simple, and it was like a 2-minute video or maybe 1-minute video of his son explaining just something about Medicare. His son was in a little suit, he's sitting at a table with some papers out, and he's like, he just gave a little thing, and people loved it because there's a little kid talking about Medicare. How cute is that, right? So those little ideas, playing with your dogs, getting your kids involved, those little things make a big difference. You as a talking head, yeah, video does help with your newsletters, but bring some personality into it. Have some fun with it. If you're having fun with it, people have fun watching it. If you are, it's like pulling teeth to get you to do a video, it's gonna be pulling teeth to watch it. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Yeah, so this Friday, we're going to be talking about seminars because here in Columbia, Missouri, as of May 12th, all the health restrictions other than mask wearing are going to be pulled, or they're not going to renew any of them. So bars will be open regular hours. They're going to have at bar seating, which myself and Megan are very excited about because we do sit at the bar when we go out to eat. We love bartenders. Not just for the alcoholism part, it's just we like sitting at the bar, but that's being lifted here in Columbia. So we're seeing in various parts of the country where these are all being lifted and these health restrictions. So hopefully by AEP, you can start having these seminars again in person because a lot of people are zoomed out. They want to have that person-to-person interaction. So we're talking about starting to snowball that effect of seeing people in somewhat controlled capacity towards AEP.
Yeah.
Dean asked a great question. Are there newsletters available from SMS? Why, of course there are. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Through our AMP program, Agent Marketing Portfolio, if you have at least one contract with senior marketing specialist, you have access to it. They do come out quarterly based on the season. Right now, the spring newsletter is out. Go to ssteam.net, click on services, and you'll see AMP, Agent Marketing Portfolio. You're able to download that, and all of our AMP pieces are customizable with your face. If you wanted to have a headshot on there, name, logo, agency information, but the newsletter is always a big hit, so you can check that out.
Yeah, and remember that if you are sending out bulk mail, that you do have to have an opt-out. That is something that like MailChimp provides. MailChimp has a free side of it where it's limited in analytics, but it does get the job done. So if you're not wanting to invest the money yet to have a newsletter, MailChimp's a great option because again, you don't want to send individual emails of 500 people. That sounds like a nightmare. You want to use a service plus, you could see who opens it, who doesn't open it, who unsubscribes, etc. What bad emails are out there. So you get all that stuff on the back end. And I think in the free accounts, and then if you want to move up to paid accounts, you get even more analytics and options. So definitely check that out. We do talk about that a lot. I think maybe next couple of weeks we'll talk more about that on the cafe, how to get that newsletter started, because it's the first time you do it is always a little daunting, but once you get the first one done and you like it, it's a very, very simple process to replicate. So we do encourage everyone to do that.
Sure thing. Awesome.
Word. Yeah, so any other questions, comments, concerns, threats, promises, throw them in the question area and we will talk about that. How much is a ticket for the summit? Well, the summit was $49 is the plus.
Oh, okay.
That gets you everything, right?
You don't read, do you?
No, I'm going back to John's question.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now, coming back to Brian, we are talking about having a little happy hour thing. I haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, you're a week away, so good luck, my friend.
Well, I don't know how to host it. That's the problem. If we should just do a webinar like this, but I want to do like more of a Zoom call where people could have video if they want, a little more personal, because I don't want it this platform. So I think we'll just have to do a Zoom call. Yeah, but that's going to be free. Bring your own alcohol. So preferably don't get drunk, but we're going to probably do that Tuesday night, like at 5 o'clock Central Time. That way we could be off hours.
I'm certainly not promising anything. I don't know how you're going to manage that, but with it being so last minute, but we'll see. We'll see what you can do, Mike.
I think I could pull it off. I think we can knock that out of the park. We've been talking about it. Yeah. And we could just like a little half hour.
I genuinely am not promising anything. I don't know how you're going to do that.
Challenge accepted. So.
Okay.
Yes, it's warm in here. I got my Pew Pew shirt on for May 4th. Woohoo! So, perfect. If you haven't posted on social media in a while, perfect day to do it. Star Wars Day. Everyone's doing it. Jump on that bandwagon. It's a fun post. Other than that, what else do we have?
Rick's saying he can't see me. I think I'm here. My camera's on. It might be my internet though. Sorry, Rick. You only get the beast today, not the beauty.
Yeah, so Dean said, yeah, Zoom call. I just don't have a premium Zoom account right now. So maybe I'll get one for a month. I'll pay the $15.
Okay, I think you need to talk to Amanda before you start making any promises about what we're doing for, the summit, since she's kind of
this is in sanction. Don't get me wrong. Well, I'll talk to Amanda. Yeah, we'll follow some protocols.
Okay.
Now I'm going to go back up a couple notches and it says Stanley said, "Have you heard of Mautic? Mautic? I don't know what that is. I have never heard that word before, so that's completely foreign to me." And Carl asks, can you screen share and how to drill into resources on site? Carl asks about the resources on the site. We could do that, like right now.
What resources? You're talking about the if you're talking about AMP, I could do that really quick, possibly.
Yeah, here I can bring up SMS team right now.
Just to make sure that you're logged in.
Yeah, 1 second. I'm doing that right now. Yeah, so I just did full screen. There is smsteam.net. And then you
click on services.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little spotlight. There we go. So services right there. Click. Oh, I can't click with the spotlight apparently. That's dumb. Services, and here's everything. Pretty simple.
But Carl, if you are a new agent with Senior Marketing Specialist, you actually are a part of the 6-month program called the onboarding program. So where you can work with Deanna, who is our onboarding specialist, and get a full walkthrough and a full basically tour of the SMS website, which includes things like discounts on E&O, our university, sales tools, marketing tools, things like that. So make sure that if you do have that, reach out to us, ask for Deanna. Yeah, not Celine Deanna, Brian. Ask for Deanna from our onboarding team, and she will give you the full tour of our website.
Yeah, if you get lost, don't forget down in the bottom right corner, there's the lovely Lindsay. You could start an online chat with her saying, hey, I'm looking for this, and she could definitely point you in the right direction, or whoever's manning the chat at that time. They could get you the right direction. If it's after hours, it just sends us an email and we'll respond to you the next business day. So if you do get lost on the site, have no fear. Just click on the bottom right and we'll guide you the right way.
Awesome.
Yeah, so great question. And that's one of the things, if you haven't been here for a while, definitely check it out. There's lots of tools, resources. I would say the top 3 for me, and I'm curious to hear what Olivia's are, I'll throw her on the spot. One is succession planning, because if you ever want to get out of this business, you got to have a plan to get out. Another one I think would be agent marketing portfolio, because let's face it, we're not professionals at marketing, we're professional insurance agents. So you want to make sure that you have professional looking marketing. And the last one I would say, if you are looking for leads and not even leads, if you're looking for great marketing, go to mail and phone leads, because a lot of that is just more than just leads. It can be marketing campaigns, it can be retention. Check that out. So those are the 3 I would definitely want to check out as a newer agent.
Mine are very similar. Mine would be probably the contest page. It gets all the carrier contests, all the carrier incentives in one place, so you can know if any carrier is offering any incentives for writing more business with them. I would do AMP, Agent Marketing Portfolio, and I would probably do the sales tools and marketing, because there are things in there like fact finders, cross-selling tools, things like that as well.
And if you're wondering how we got there, smsteam.net, and just click on services, and it's all there. Pretty simple to use. You
Yeah,
could,
just make sure you're logged in.
yeah, when you're logged in, you can see everything, current newsletters, you order them right there. Well, bam. So there's a sample newsletter. Very clean looking, very easy to use. You can personalize it, and then there's the order form right down there. Nice, simple, and yeah, easy to do. That's Spring 21. So make sure you get your copy and start sending it out. One thing I will say, if you could also share it on social media. So don't just think I send a newsletter out, share your newsletter on social media and make sure you're getting full value of that free newsletter.
Yeah,
So again,
for sure, for sure.
smsteam.net, and then you could just go across and go right to services. Click on events,
Awesome.
click on contact now if you want to say hello. Last but not least, real quick, we have our agent memo update. Definitely check out the blog, the news area. A lot of great information in here, a lot of great resources. We do this once a month, where every month there's an update. So any new news, anything that we think you need to know will be in there. So there you go. That's smsteam.net, and just click on news and check that out as well. And there's always links to newsletter in there as well.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're having trouble signing in or anything else, just click on Lindsay and she could help you right down here. That's Lindsay. Hi, Lindsay. She can't hear us, but I thought I'd say hi anyway. So yeah, if you have any trouble, there's your resource. So
Stanley's saying you're having some issues with the website. Stanley, just go ahead and call our office. Again, if you have a contract with your marketing specialist, always make sure that you're signed in. Always make sure that that's working. But if you are having technical issues, just call our office. Our team's there to help you out.
yeah, they're easy going. So any other questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises, throw them in the question area. But yeah, just like anything else, you got to get full value of everything you're doing. So, there's a lot of tools on there, and you may be struggling with a topic or a situation, and all of a sudden the tool's right there, and you're like, holy cow, it's been there the whole time. So rather than trying to figure it out on your own, that's what we're here for.